After nearly 30 years, I'm excited to announce that I can finally have someone else continue the great work and continue to build Zynex that I've been working on day and night for the past 30 years. I started, I remember moving from Denmark and literally sat on the floor in a one bedroom and began to build this business. And it's been interesting.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Thomas Sandgaard. He is the CEO of Zynex. And Thomas, it's good to see you. How are you?
Yes, thanks, Steve. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thanks very much. And you're here for a very significant purpose, and that is to make an announcement. So I'll let you do that.
Yes, thank you, Steve. And you know what? After nearly 30 years, I'm excited to announce that I can finally have someone else continue the great work and continue to build Zynex that I've been working on day and night for the past 30 years. I started, I remember moving from Denmark and literally sat on the floor in a one bedroom and began to build this business. And it's been interesting when you start a business, especially in the medical device industry, with no money and you just build it with your bare hands. You end up going through a lot of ups and downs. I remember uh, when was that? Yeah, that was 8 years ago. We finally got uplisted to the OTC. I remember that. That was a big deal because I couldn't get the business financed, and I was in a situation having developed the first product, the IF 8000, great success. I'd hired a few salespeople. I went down to Office Depot and bought a typewriter and started doing insurance billing and slowly built that. And we started growing really fast. I couldn't keep up with that. And what do you do? You try to finance the business. The only thing that was open was to go public on the OTC. Got a small pipe in, and the business has grown since. But still, during those days when you go public in a reverse merger with a publicly traded shell, there's no payday for me. So it was still feeling bankrupt every single day just to keep the lights on. And over the years, with great people that has worked here, we've eventually built a great business with hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue and great results, and have helped over 1 million patients with pain so far, and continue to do that.
Yeah,
It's been quite a journey, I tell you.
yeah, and I can imagine. And Thomas, that's why I'm sure it was a tough decision to make to decide to step out of the CEO chair and remain as the chairman of the board and chair of the technology committee. So, why the decision to sort of step away from sort of the day-to-day CEO operations?
Well, it started with a couple of years ago. We took the initiative to maybe uh, see if we could take the company private rather than being publicly traded on Nasdaq that we've been for many years. Um, and that was triggered by that's simply too much shorting interest, and therefore shareholders were not really getting the value, including me, that still today owns about half of the company. Um, and we started the process with an investment bank to entice private equity firms to take us private. And we had a decent interest in the beginning in one particular company in England, Apax, one of the largest private equity firms in the world, had a lot of interest and has done a lot of due diligence. They probably know the company better than than we do by now. But eventually, the deal didn't come through. And later, starting about 10 months ago, I started to talking to the head of healthcare, and that knew our company so well, about potentially coming to work for Zynex. So for 10 months, we've been working on putting something together, where obviously he's going to be heavily incentivized by creating a much better market cap, and valuation for the company, but with an expertise for him of over 25 years in the medical industry, having worked on not only transacting, buying and selling companies, but also building them up to be much stronger than they were before. He has a fantastic experience that'll be very helpful for us. So it was just a perfect fit, and it was interesting how that conversation just developed. And uh, one of the main things is that Stephen and I we really agree on many things. 90% or more of any business issue that comes up, we would both do the same, make the same decision. So it's been very easy to work with him here early, and look forward to seeing the same kind of quality of work that we've seen from Stephen in his past career.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, Stephen Dyson, the new CEO, of course, and he'll be taking over officially in August. So, Thomas, a couple more questions here. What do you, as you look back on the work that you've done, you mentioned sort of the lean days at the very beginning and how you had to fight through that.
An understatement, yeah.
Yeah, what are you most proud of as the work that you've done as a CEO and to build this company?
Um, there's so many things. I would say I'm proud of uh, as we were able to, uh, depending on the size of the company and the situation, being able to attract really quality people that has helped build this business. Obviously, you can't build a company of this size just doing it by yourself. So that has obviously been the most important thing. Without those people, we wouldn't have been able to be where we are today. And then obviously on the personal side, I could be proud of having done the impossible hundreds of times, because you basically counted out so many times. There've been days where the bank calls and told me, "You're out, and by the way, we have people in the building taking over, etc." How do you get through a day like that and turn
Mm.
things around to eventually work with them and get back on track? Those ups and downs have been maybe not stressful but painful.
Yeah.
You learn to muster a lot of stress.
Absolutely, I can imagine. Let's talk about the move now to Mr. Dyson, because obviously you mentioned there before you're aligned on the way you both think, and I think that's important for people to understand that while the leadership may be changing and you'll still be a big part of the company, sort of the philosophy that the company has and how you sort of move the company to the next step is really the focus moving forward, I would think.
And that's right. I've come to know Stephen so well now that I don't need to worry about if we get someone in that suddenly gets ideas that um, maybe sound good, but maybe I wouldn't agree with, or would take the company in at the wrong time, maybe in the wrong direction. So I'm very comfortable with that. That's probably the main thing, and the main feeling I have about this now. And of course, being chairman of the board will mean that I'll have a finger on the pulse, and I own half the company. So obviously, I still have a very vested interest in making sure that we make this a continued success.
Absolutely. Well, Thomas, congratulations on what was a long and tenured career as CEO, and we look forward to more conversations when you're officially the chairman of the board only coming up in August. So,
Very good.
thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah, Thomas Sangard, the CEO of Zynex.